Hi everyone! Today, we're gonna discuss about human settlements and urbanization. Human settlements are like living organisms. They must grow and they will change, but we can decide on the nature of that growth, on the quality and the character of it, and where it ought to go. We don't have to scatter the building blocks of our civic life all over the countryside, destroying our towns and ruining farmland. This is a quote from James Howard Kunstler, an American author, which gives us an idea of what human settlements are. First, let's define human settlements. Human settlement is a human habitation structure where people live in congregated houses that can range from a small-scale residence to a large-scale city. It can be a village, town, or a city. These can be temporarily, seasonally, or permanently occupied. Human settlements in any form exhibit the relationship of humans with the environment. Human settlements have 5 echistic elements, namely human, nature, society, shells, and networks. It's an arrangement that includes natural, social, and man-made elements in which the social, technological, economic, political, and cultural sectors are encompassed. So what is urbanization? Urbanization is defined as the process where a big number of people move in small areas which will eventually form a town or a city, due to people starting to live and work in central areas. It's a gradual process of moving from a rural area to an urban area. Knowing all of these, let's go on some facts. During 2015, 4 billion people lived in the cities. According to the United Nations, almost 60% of the world's population will live in urban areas by the year 2030. And by the year 2050, this will rise to 70%. And that's a big percentage. As the world continues to develop, urban expansion will definitely take place. In the next decades, 95% of urban expansion will take place in the developing world. However, this expansion has led to the continuous rising of people living in slums. Currently, there are 1.6 billion people, or roughly 20% of the world's population, experiences inadequate housing, and 828 million people are living in slums. Another fact is that in the Earth's land, only 3% of it is occupied by the world's cities. Despite this small percentage, however, 60 to 80% of energy consumption and 75% of carbon emissions are contributed by this 3%. Though the high density of cities brings forth efficiency gains and technological innovations, this rapid urbanization exerts pressure on freshwater supplies, sewage, the living environment, and public health. And this can be seen with the community problems that we are facing right now. Speaking of public health, rapid urbanization may also cause a health crisis in a community. One of these crises is urban air pollution caused by transportation vehicles, industrial pollution, and electricity generation. Urban air pollution also kills around 1.2 million people, mainly due to cardiovascular and respiratory diseases. That is a big number. It is also a fact that tuberculosis or TB incidence is higher in bigger cities as compared to rural areas. And aside from urban air pollution, road accidents also happen due to this problem. Most of the road traffic deaths occur in low and middle income countries and are the 9th leading cause of death globally. Let's now move on to the global issues of human settlements and urbanization. The world experiences a rapid urbanization contributing to the development of land for use in commercial properties, social and economic support institutions, transportation, and residential buildings. Eventually, these activities raise several environmental problems such as poor air and water quality, insufficient water availability, waste disposal problems, and the density and demands of the urban environment. In fact, more than half of the world's population now lives in towns and cities, causing overpopulation. In the local scene, overpopulation was a major issue that until now affects the whole country in a negative way. Overpopulation in the Philippines has increased for the past 5 years and is now a major concern of the government. One factor was that the majority of the people transferred to cities and towns because they view rural areas as places with hardship and primitive lifestyles. Another, according to the UN, the current environmental conditions of human settlements in the Philippines are alarming. This can be seen by the poor quality housing, inadequate access to basic services, and increased risks to public health. As the country's population continues to grow, the need for shelter also increases. And as we all know, the Philippines is being hit by around 20 typhoons a year and frequent volcanic activities, which destroys many lives, livelihood, and homes. As stated by the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development or DHSUD, the Philippines' backlog in providing shelter increased to 6.75 million units. If that problem was not properly addressed today, the number could grow to 22 million units by 2040. If these local and global issues will not be taken seriously, it may lead to the growth and expansion of the informal sector, therefore resulting in economic inefficiency, environmental degradation, and health risks. Based on the data from the National Statistical Coordination Board, it shows that in 2012, extreme poverty within the Philippines affected 19.2% of the population, which is around 18.4 million people. If poverty continues to grow in the country, many people could not afford housing, food, and clean water. Thus, this may put them into danger. And with little money to buy food and water, there will be a greater chance that a family may experience hunger. Therefore, it may result in malnutrition. Lastly, due to rapid urbanization, the environment is being degraded. Resources such as water, air, soil are depleted, causing pollution. These results in serious health problems to humans, most especially to the poor families who are the most affected by it. So why is it important to maintain the good quality of human settlements? In fact, according to the World Health Organization, a healthy city is one that is continually creating and improving those physical and social environments, and expanding those community resources which enable people to mutually support each other in performing all the functions of life. With good leadership and participatory governance, the economic, political, and social factors present in an area, it can be a tool for creating better settlements where we will have reduced consequences of environmental degradation, climate change, and inequalities. Maintaining the good quality of human settlements means also that we are achieving sustainable development goals. These SDGs are zero hunger, by having innovative policies that enhance the food environment and food supply. Healthy cities can guarantee nutritious, safe, and sufficient food supply for the people. Clean water and sanitation. It can ensure access to safe drinking water and enhance sanitation standards for all settlements that encourages proper waste management and good hygiene practices. Sustainable cities and development. It can ensure better housing and sanitation and upgrade slums as priorities for public health. This also promotes better urban planning to prioritize public and green spaces, emergency responses to natural disasters, and expanding access to safe transportation. Responsible consumption and production. Unsustainable consumption and production may harm the environment and eventually our health. Therefore, to have sustainable cities, we can opt for transnational corporations, aid individuals to turn to more sustainable practices for the environment, the people, and its health. Climate action. Having a healthy city may decrease carbon emissions by enhancing air quality and physical activity by encouraging walking or cycling. And to have a healthy city, the approach must be focused on the different types and sizes of settlements that may reduce climate change. And lastly, peace, justice, and strong institutions. Having a healthy city means it is inclusive and peaceful. It aids in giving safe places to work with, play, and live on by the people. Also, it will be a safe place for pro-health social activism to guarantee access to justice for all. Now that we know what human settlements and urbanization are, the challenges we face within these concepts and their impacts, it's now time to know what measures we can take to address these issues. One of the 17 SDGs set by the UN that tackles the issues of human settlements and urbanization is Sustainable Development Goal number 11, or making cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. This goal aims to promote healthy cities where the rights of the vulnerable groups in the city are protected. Aside from these global actions and strategies, it's important to have perspective at the local community level. There are things that a community can do to meet these challenges. It's important to promote urban planning to improve urban living conditions. With this, the residents would have access to adequate shelter and sanitation. It's also important to involve these communities in the local decision making during the planning process. Plus, it's necessary to promote resilience to natural disasters and climate change because as cities grow and expand, their vulnerability to natural disasters also grow. The local and national government must aim for housing to be affordable. It's important that they strengthen their laws and regulations with regards to land planning. In designing laws and regulations, environmental sustainability should be integrated into urban development. This would not only improve the quality of life, but also may bring forth solutions to climate change. As a steward of the environment, it's our responsibility to take good care of it. After knowing all of these, one question is left. Are you up to these challenges? First, the local government is encouraged to conduct educational seminars with the help of the different organizations that enhance the residents' knowledge of the topic of sustainability. To focus on educating the residents on what is sustainable livelihood and how they can use it to generate income, while at the same time helping the environment by keeping the approach sustainable. It is suggested that local leaders should identify the existing skills that their residents have or abundant resources that their area has, and from that, formulate developmental activities that will further enrich their skills and how to properly manage and use their abundant resources to put it into use as a capital of their future businesses. With the increasing rate of urbanization, the agricultural lands are also diminishing to convert it to residential areas to accommodate urban sprawl, which may also bring negative effects on our food production. Edible landscaping can also be integrated with urban planning to have a more sustainable way of acquiring food and reconnecting people to the food system and have a more healthier lifestyle. With these, we are encouraging you to have your own edible garden to practice sustainable food production and have a healthier lifestyle. During these trying times, we are left to stay at home. A lot of us have become plantitos and plantitas who joined in this craze amidst the lockdown. But did you know? We can add herbs, vegetables, and berries to our own garden. By having this edible garden, we can just pick out the food we can eat from our own garden, and we are also assured that the products we will be picking are safe since we ourselves grew them. Since most of us grew far from agricultural lands, this can be a way to educate people on how to grow fruits and vegetables in urban areas. And more than what mentioned earlier, there are also different advocacies for us to support. Are you ready for it? These advocacies are: first, adequate and inclusive shelter for all. Have you ever wandered around the streets and observed the different settlements seen in the community? There are settlements suitable for living while there are others that are not. But having an adequate shelter is a basic right, isn't it? We all deserve adequate housing where there are appropriate and modern facilities and infrastructures. This would result in higher and better standards and quality of life achieved by the unsustainable use of resources. And second, inclusive green spaces. Due to the demand for land for housing and commercial uses, green spaces tend to be compromised. We often neglect the benefits and importance of these green spaces. And according to the Green Flag Award, green spaces mean having adequate access to facilities for all the social groups, security measures, cleanliness, appealing layout, and diverse vegetation structure. This would provide an aesthetic experience and improved quality of life as it also enhances the physical and well-being of the residents. Let us end with a quote from Henry David Thoreau, an American philosopher. And we quote, "What is the use of a house if you don't have a decent planet to put it on?" End quote. Let this be our reminder that in order to have a good quality of life in whatever settlement we live in, we must not forget to take care of the environment that surrounds us. After all, this will also affect every aspect of our lives: economic, social, and most especially, our health. This is it for our session for today. Thank you for listening.